What is happening in the church? A pastor molests a 12-year-old girl? Well, we'll be discussing it today on The Truth Must Be Told, so stand by.
He's just ignorant. He doesn't know any better than to tell the truth.
It's the truth. I just want to report the truth. It'd be a nice change of pace, okay?
When in doubt, tell the truth.
And when I tried to tell the truth, and they kicked me off the air.
You can't handle the truth.
And now, speaking the truth, even though it hurts. Here's the host of The Truth Must Be Told, Sal Passos.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Truth Must Be Told. I'm glad you're here with me. My name is Sal Passos, and I'm not wearing my sunglasses today. As you see, I have a lazy eye. I just think that maybe people are thinking I'm hiding something with the sunglasses. I'm hiding the lazy eye. I don't want people to freak out over it. So just bear with me on that, if you will. Again, welcome to the program. Again, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the program. That definitely will help me. We do appreciate that. I know I haven't been around for a while. It's been a minute since we had a video out, but there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I just got through a bout of being sick again. I guess as I get older, I'm getting more sicker, but we do appreciate you being here. Also, don't forget that you can watch this podcast or listen to this podcast at these podcast platforms. So we do appreciate you guys tuning in. So we do appreciate it, and I'm glad you're here today. Now, I want to talk about Robert Morris. Now, this past week or so, if you haven't been paying attention, Robert Morris, excuse me, let me just turn my camera a little bit back this way. Okay. Robert Morris is a pastor, and there have been many stories out about him on YouTube. And I thought that I would throw my hat in the ring and discuss it. And again, before I do that, I must tell you, this is the first time I've ever had to say this is going to have explicit content. So please, 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 parental advisory. If you have young children listening to this, have them turn away. We don't want them to be shocked by this stuff. So it is a warning for you, okay? Now, Robert Morris is was the pastor, he's since resigned, of Gateway Church in South Lake, Texas. Pastor Morris, let me bring this up. I'm going to read this article about him. This came out, this is from the Christian Post, and this came out on June 15th. Apparently, so Robert Morris, founding pastor of Gateway Church in South Lake, Texas, which attracts an estimated 100,000 worshipers weekly, has confessed to inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady more than 35 years ago while he was a young pastor, after a woman accused him of sexually abusing her over multiple years, beginning when she was 12 years old, and he started molesting her. When I was in my early 20s, I was involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady, remember that phrase, in a home where I was staying. It was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong. This behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years, Morris said in a statement to the Christian Post after Gateway Church was asked about the allegations. In March of 1987, the situation was brought to light and it was confessed and repented of. I submitted myself to the elders of Shady Grove Church and the young lady's father. They asked me to step out of ministry and receive counseling and freedom ministry, which I did. Since that time, I have walked in purity and accountability in this area. Now, I cannot vet that or venerate that. I can't say yes he did or no he didn't. Maybe he did. If he did, that's fine. But he explained that he returned to ministry in March of 1989, 2 years after his abuse was exposed, with the blessings of the survivor's father and the elders of his church. He further noted that he met with his wife, with the survivor and her family in October of 1989. I asked their forgiveness, and they graciously forgave me, Morris said. Morris's accuser, Cindy Clemenshire, first told the Wartburg Watch that he began sexually abusing her on December 25th of 1982 and continued the abuse for 4.5 years after that. When he contracted by the Christian Post on Saturday, the 54-year-old grandmother confirmed the details of the report, but insisted she was no young lady when Morris began abusing her. Of course, I'm just appalled, she said, in his description of her being a young lady. I was 12 years old and a little girl, a very innocent little girl, and he was brought into our home, and his wife, Debbie, and their little boy, Josh, and trusted and preached at the church that my dad helped start, and then began grooming all of us to do this, which took me decades to wrap my brain around as an adult. It went on for many years. He says there was no sexual intercourse, but he did touch every part of my body and inserted fingers into me, which I understand now is a form of rape. I was 12 years old. I was innocent 12-year-old girl, and I knew nothing about sexual behavior. Clementshire said in her report to the Wartburg Watch that her family first met Morris at a youth revival in Tulsa in 1981 when he was 20-year-old traveling evangelist. At the time, he was married to his wife, Debbie. They had a son, Josh. She said Morris began preaching at her church regularly on Sundays after he was invited to do a youth revival in her hometown of Hominy, Oklahoma. Her family and the Morrises quickly became friends. They were invited to their home and often went on trips together. On that fateful Christmas night in 1982, Clementshire said the safety of the relationship with Morris and his family ended for her when they visited her home. The Morris family came to visit and spend some time there. Cindy sat in the back of the car with Robert. He asked her to visit him in his room that night. She shared a room with her sister, Cindy. In an innocent 12-year-old girl movingly described what she was wearing. She was wearing pink pajamas with bloomer pants. She wore underwear underneath. She had a snap-up robe on. She thought nothing of visiting a family friend in their bedroom. He had told her to lie down on her back. He touched her stomach. He told her to close her eyes, and he touched her breasts and felt under her panties. He warned her never to tell anyone about this because it will ruin everything. Clementshire claims Morris repeatedly abused her in Texas and Oklahoma, and he often told his wife that he was merely counseling her during the abuse. When she turned 16, Clementshire said Morris would take her out in his car and try to have sexual intercourse. By this time, Morris was a pastor at Shady Grove Church, which would eventually become Gateway Church Grand Prairie campus, the report said. Clementshire eventually confided what was happening to her and to a close friend who encouraged her to tell her family. When her father found out, he told the lead pastor at Shady Grove Church that if Morris didn't get out of the ministry, he would get the police involved. And I think he should have done that anyway. That threat forced Morris to step away for 2 years. Morris would return to Hominy with his wife. They told Clemenshire's father that he wanted to return to ministry, and at that point, her father washed his hands of Morris and no longer interacted with him. The survivor made it clear to the Christian Post that Morris did not get her father's blessing to return to ministry. My father never gave his blessings on Robert returning to the ministry. My father told him he is lucky he didn't kill him. I am mortified that he is telling the world that my dad gave his blessing. Of course, we forgive him because we're called to biblically forgive those who sin against us, but that does not mean he is supposed to go on without repercussions. Clementshire explained that she retained an attorney in 2005 to file a civil lawsuit, but Morris's attorney suggested she caused the abuse on her behalf because she was flirtatious. She said she asked for $50,000. She said she asked for $50,000 to cover the cost of her counseling stemming from the abuse. She said they offered her $25,000 if she signed a non-disclosure agreement, but she refused. For years, she has been warning churches and pastors who would listen to her story about Morris because she doesn't believe she's the only one who suffered his abuse. She also argued that he shouldn't be serving in ministry and should step down. Amen to that. I don't think he should ever be allowed to be in the ministry. We would never allow someone to go teach in a school, work in a daycare, or be a doctor if anyone had done these things. And I have a very difficult time in believing I'm the only one, Clementshire said. Elders of Gateway Church said in a statement that Morris was transparent with them about his past, and they believe he has been biblically restored to ministry. Pastor Robert has been open and forthright about a moral failure that he had 35 years ago when he was in his 20s and him prior to starting Gateway Church. He has shared publicly from the pulpit the proper biblical steps he took in his lengthy restoration process. The 2-year restoration process was closely administered by the elders at Shady Grove and included him stepping out of the ministry during that period, receiving professional counseling and freedom ministry counseling. Since the resolution of this 35-year-old matter, there have been no other moral failures. Pastor Robert has walked in purity and has placed accountability measures and people in his life. The matter has been properly disclosed to church leadership. Let me make a statement here. First of all, Cindy, if you happen to come across this podcast, I want you to know my heart goes out to you. If one of my children was abused at that age, your father had a lot more grace than I would have had. So just to let you know, we're praying for you, and we need to pray for Robert as well. And I'm glad you've forgiven him. So what am I trying to say here? Can a man commit a sin like this and be restored? Yes, but not to a ministry. He could be restored to fellowship with Jesus and a relationship with Jesus, but he needs to sit in front of the pulpit rather than stand behind it. And I would offer that we pray for Morris, and from what I understand, sexual assault on a minor has no statute of limitations in Texas, so it is possible that he will be prosecuted. Now, just so you know, he has gone away. He's news articles that I've been following up with say that he has left the ministry. He's resigned from his pastorship and has left. We don't know where he is. Some people say he went overseas. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I don't want to get into being a rumor mill, but that's what I'm understanding. But this leads to a bigger issue. Something disturbing is happening in American churches. You know, when I was in Bible college, one of our teachers had a son with a very disabling disease. Now, his mother, Lillian Sparks, wrote this book, Tough Cookie. It was about Brian Sparks, and I got to know Brian a little bit. And this told about his struggle of this young man. And the reason I bring Brian up in this conversation is that at one point, while looking for a cure for this heinous disease, which causes his skin to peel off, he had to go to a clinic just for people who suffered from this disease. And but that clinic was in Europe, and they didn't have the financial means to get there. I mean, they were at a Bible college, which was run by faith, but they dared to believe God. And the Sparks began to pray, but they received a paid trip by none other than PTL's Jim Bakker. I bring this up because it was very difficult to see Jim Bakker fall into sexual sin, divorce from Tammy, and ultimately go to prison. The fall of the PTL ministry was very, very difficult to see. Now Bakker is back. But he is now so NAR that it's disgusting, and he's just selling products and just going on a weird rant. Now, shortly after that, another man that I looked up to fell into sexual sin. His ministry was worldwide. He had a tremendous influence. Even the pastor in my church that I sat under at the time was on this man's board. And that man was Jimmy Swaggart. His preaching and his music were very moving. To this day, I still remember some of his sermons. Excellent Bible teaching, but he had a problem with sin. Now, he was told by the Assemblies of God that he could step down for 2 years, get counseling, and that he would be restored, but he refused. It broke my heart to see this. I still listen to him from time to time, but again, the damage was done. And the Assemblies of God rightfully took away his credentials from the AG, and because he wouldn't fall under discipline of the assemblies. And what wound up happening is they lost a third of their missionary budget that they were getting from Jimmy Swaggart. So a third of their missionary budget came from Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. And that was a huge hit. So what did they do? They accepted Benny Hinn to be part of the, but talk about going from the frying pan into the fire. Now, I don't know if Benny Hinn is still an AG minister or not. I haven't been able to find that out. I haven't looked very deeply. If you know, please leave something in the comments. But and even Benny Hinn's having issues. He might have had an affair with Paula White. That's another story. But through the years, there's been the occasional news blip about certain pastors having some sort of problem with sex, having some sort of problems with money, or both. Now, what amazes me is today is that when these men, and sadly women, who are pastors, fall. Now, when I say pastors, I'm doing air quotes because I'm supposed to be there. But instead of following biblical procedures and guidelines in taking this person and booting them out, they are applauded and placed back in the pulpits. Some recent examples, other than Robert Morris, is, the Catholic Church has been involved in things for years. They're riddled with sexual allegations, child molestation, and homosexuality, and everything else. But here are just a few that I pulled out. Greg Locke. Now, Greg Locke, we did an episode on Greg. He was having an affair with his church assistant. Then he divorced his wife and married his mistress. All right. Todd Bentley. Now, you may know Todd Bentley from he keeps using the term, bam. God told me to kick her in the face, and I did. Bam. And she was healed, I'm sure. But he was having sex with one of his children's nannies, and then he divorced his wife. And a quotation from him says, with the development of more friction in his marriage relationship, Todd began to make irrational decisions. The latter states that alcohol, movies, and leisure time spent with a few of the younger, more impressionable members of his staff and road crew began to replace the hours of soaking in the presence of God, which Todd had engaged during the early days of the outpouring. Okay. The next guy I want to talk about here is J.P. Miller. Now, I don't know if you've heard anything about J.P. Miller. He is a hyper-faith, wrong thing here. He is the hyper-faith pastor, quote, air quotes, from North Carolina, and it currently involved with an investigation regarding his wife's supposed suicide. Now, I'll be doing a show on this man soon, but suffice it to say that his wife was his babysitter, and they were starting to have sexual relations when she was 17, and he cheated on his first wife with her. He then divorced his first wife and married Micah, and as I said, I'll be doing more on them soon. I popped this up before, actually, and I didn't mean to, but these are some of the many pastors, in air quotes, that have been involved in scandals in the recent year, whether that's financial scandals, sexual scandals, or whatever. These are big people. You got Catherine Coleman, yes, Paula White up there, the pastor to the president. And in these recent years, these people have been involved in scandals. And this is very disturbing. But this is, again, nothing new. I want you to take a look at this. Let's go over to the screen here so you can see this. Southern Baptist leaders release a previously secret list of accused sexual abusers. Now, this was in May of 2022, so just a couple of years ago. This is an Associated Press article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but in response to an explosive investigation, top Southern Baptists have recently released a previously secret list of hundreds of pastors and other church-affiliated personnel accused of sexual abuse. The 205-page database was made public late Thursday and includes more than 700 entries from cases that largely span from 2000 to 2019. The existence became widely known Sunday when the independent firm Guidepost Solutions included in its bombshell report detailing how the Southern Baptist Convention's Executive Committee mishandled allegations of sex abuse, stonewalled numerous survivors, and prioritized protecting the SBC from liability. So they kept a private list of abusers. You can go and find this article yourself and read it through. I'm not going to read it all. There is a hotline that's been set up. I don't know if it's still active or not, but it's 202-864-5578. If there are people or survivors or someone on their behalf, you need to report any abuse allegations. I don't know who the hotline is with, but it's with Guidepost Solutions probably, because it says here, SBC hotline at guidepostsolutions.com. So callers will be provided with care options and connected with an advocate. So there's definitely something wrong going on here. Excuse me. We see in all the cults the sexual abuse. It always turns into sex somehow. I mean, T.D. Jakes has been brought under allegations of grooming young men, for sexual encounters. We don't know what happened recently with Tony Evans. Tony Evans stepped down because he said he had committed some grievous sin. And I think what bothers me, I've just seen a video of his son, preaching on Father's Day, and he said, "When my father comes back," and everybody all applauded, "Yay!" Okay, he shouldn't be in the pulpit. He shouldn't be in the pulpit. The Bible warns us to not even fellowship with people who do this. Can they be restored? Yeah, Paul put that quite plainly in his letters to the Corinthians. He said, turn that one who's having sex with his mother-in-law or his stepmother to turn him over to Satan. And then I think in 2 Corinthians, the man repented and they brought him back in and restored him. But never should this be a priority in the ministry. A minister, a bishop, he desires a great thing, Paul said. It's a worthy calling, but he must be temperate. He must be without reproach. He must be not a seeker of money. He should be all these things he listed out. And I would say that what happened with Robert Morris and these men, and there are a lot more, and I'm sure you can even tell me a lot more about them, they have fallen into a sin, whether it be sexual sin, stealing money, whatever it is. Those things are, can God forgive them? Yes, absolutely, God can forgive them. Should they be restored to ministry? I don't think so. I think their ministry career is over. I think they need to step down. That's my opinion, whatever it's worth. I'd be interested to hear yours. Please put them in the comments below. Don't forget also to hit that like button and let us know. Show us some love by hitting that like button and let us know what's happening in your life. If you want to contact me personally, you can email me at thetruthmustbetold93 at gmail.com. Thetruthmustbetold93 at gmail.com. And feel free to ask any questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got. Thank you for all of the people who are tuning in on Rumble. And again, you could reach us there at Passos1, rumble.com. And we'll be glad to see you and to talk to you at some point. Pray for us. We've got other things coming up soon. There's a lot of things going on. So I would just pray for me, pray for our family, and pray that God will continue to use this podcast to reach out. That's why we ask you to share and subscribe so that you get the newest ones coming out. I'm doing my best to get behind this microphone more and more. I'm by myself. It takes a lot of time to put this material together, to put it in some kind of an order so you could see it. But we'd appreciate your support. If you have any way you want to help, you can email me. You can contact me, leave a comment. My email is there. I would really appreciate it. All right, until next time, God bless you. And we'll see you on The Truth Must Be Told in the next episode. Take care.